Hello, 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 hello. Today, we've got two new dragons to get hatching. Well, one of them's an old dragon technically, but one of them is the new Primal Dragon Orange Viper. So of course we didn't get Red Jaw from the Primal event, but we do have this beautiful Primal Snaky boy to get hatching with this new breeding and hatchery den change stuff. And there he is, in all of his beautiful primal glory. So with these primals, like I've said a few times, I don't think they're particularly good dragons, as in I wouldn't suggest for you to use them, but Primal Plant and Wind, he's basically a primal version of the Hermes dragon, which Hermes is not very good either, even as a divine. But there he is, there is our second primal dragon ever, and at least he's a cool looking guy. And through although beautiful to behold, there is no known cure for the Orange Viper Dragon's venom. So tread carefully, dear trainers, or rather, look up, because these primals hunt by hanging from tree limbs. And so, there we have baby Leon. I do kind of prefer it like this. Maybe Leon could have been a bit bigger, but I guess we'll take it. And so little baby Leon here in his little cutie self in the side of this hatchery really fits well in this plant habitat, I think. But again, the main problem with primals is that they are strong to everything, but they're also weak to everything. And actually them being strong against everything is actually bad for the dungeon, because you can't get the complete weak attack quest done with them, which super duper sucks. But oh my goodness, I love this baby so much. I'm still gonna level him up though. But yeah, primals just don't really work in the dungeon, and even the community manager himself said, yeah, primals, they're not really for the dungeon. So, I think for a long time, primals probably won't really see any use. I can see them potentially having use in, say, the sigil map, or arena in some cases, but I think primarily they'll just be there to fill up any extra elements that you need on your team. Like, if I'm being honest, if I just wanted to have a dragon that has elements I don't already have on my main team, Orange Viper would be perfect, because I don't have a primal, I don't have plant, and I don't have wind. So they're probably good for just having a dragon for castle events and such. But look at this cool guy. I do really like primals because, again, they're based off of dinosaurs and sort of reptilian creatures. So I'm just upset that I can't really use them in my team. I 100% would have put a primal in my team if they were even slightly good. But anyway, the other dragon that we have today is actually a dragon I was really glad to get, because this is Herald. And Herald is a dragon that you can only get nowadays in the arena. And so that does mean that you have to get within the top 3 arena people in order to get him, and thanks to the treasure hunt event's free energy, we actually managed to get this guy. So he is only an epic, but he's cute, he's very shiny, and I like him. And again, the dragons that actually you have to put some effort into earning, they do hit different, if you know what I mean. Like, compared to just breeding a random dragon or whatever, actually having to do stuff in, like, the highest arena leagues, that means stuff. The other one I need to get is Amazon. Maybe we'll get it eventually, but I would really like those gemmy rewards. That would be tasty. But anyway, the Herald Dragon travels all over Dragonlandia, delivering tidings of good cheer. But, not wanting to be the bearer of bad news, it has been known to hide this trainer's mail if it contains a bill. Oh no, imagine that. It's like, you're just minding your own business and you forget that it's bill month, and then he goes and hides them all. And then suddenly you get bailiffs knocking on your front door like, hello, we are putting you in jail for not paying your bills. I don't know why they're some weird foreign guys. I don't know, why not? But yeah, that's not good, Mile. You better not do that to me. I'm just telling you right now, I will not accept you hiding my bills. Although these days most bills are electronic, but maybe he actually hacks into your PC and hides them in like a secret email folder. Or maybe he password protects it. That would be an entire new level of, like, mentally deranged. But I could believe it. Look at this guy. He's definitely the kind to do it. Look at him. Eating food off the floor like a degenerate. Ugh. Disgusting. But no. One thing I've never really noticed about this dragon before are his knee pads. Do you see those knee pads? What the heck are they? I have no idea what they are, but they're very pointy and you could probably stab someone's eye out with them. And so, all things considered, I like him. He does also have some nice shading on him, which I don't see in a lot of dragons, but yeah, I like the shading on him. Good boy, Mile. I like you. But those are the new dragons that I wanted to get out, of course. We'd also have the new Dragon of the Month stuff going on at the moment, but for the most, yeah, generally for the most part, it's basically just going to be trying to get some stuff happening with cake craze, if that's at all possible. I don't think it is, but we've also got farm frenzy going on at the minute, so free food, extra dragons, feeling good. Dunky is in the house! So it did take a few attempts, but in under 24 hours I did indeed manage to breed the new Dragon of the Month, a Dunkelviking. So that is going to be 1 day and 14 hours, fire and nurture, a lovely combo. So I don't know what it is, but a lot of people have been asking, is it a good idea to gem for dragons like the Gemini Alpha and Gemini Beta dragon, who of course is currently the dungeon reward dragon? And I don't know how else to say it, but no, definitely not. They're legendaries, and I've gone through this many times, but legendary dragons just aren't very good. And a lot of people ask why are they not good? The reason being that compared to Divines and Ancients, they're just nowhere near on the same level of how good they are. So it doesn't really make sense investing so many resources into a legendary when you're just gonna be moving on to Divines and Ancients when you get them anyway. And then lots of people say, oh my god, but I'm new, I can't get Divines. Yes, you can. And then they go, oh my god, I'm new, I can't get Ancients. Yes, you can. They do generally require you to log in for most resets, but even if you don't, as long as you prepare and save up the gems, for example, and get a dungeon team ready, you can just get a Divine or Ancient out of the dungeon from grinding. Even if it's only one of them, it's better than nothing, right? And I think a lot of newer players, obviously they're not up to scratch with all of the mechanics and all the various things that you can do, and some of them may never have even seen a Divine or Ancient event before, and they still think that legendaries are good to get and worth spending gems right now, for example, to get them. And we are 3 days right now away from an Ancient event, and it's just such a bad idea to be wasting the gems that you have right now on a legendary when we're about to get an Ancient event. So it's not to, you know, say new player bad, because it's not just new players that say this sort of thing, but I can't stress enough just how bad legendaries are compared to Divines and Ancients. Like, poor old Andy, I would use him, but 1, he's a legendary, and 2, he's got Plant and Shadow, so obviously, I don't really want those elements on a team. Sani, he can actually have some use, and I may end up leveling him up soon, in fact. But if he's going to be part of your main 3 squad, it's not a good idea at all. It's just you need 2 Blesses and an Ancient to be able to have consistent dungeon runs. And people argue that all the time, but then you see that their dungeon runs generally aren't very good, and that sort of speaks to itself. But, you know, you can be free to do whatever you want. You can use any dragons that you want, but if you're gonna ask my advice, yeah, you shouldn't be using legendaries at all. Now, that depends on a couple of things. There are some very niche scenarios in which you can use them. One would be if you're not actually unlocking the 3rd element, and you're not intending to enchant them or anything, then you can use them in certain situations, but for the most part, bad idea. It would be a very specific scenario in which you would get any use out of it. So I'd just like to throw that up as a, you know, warning before you go, oh my god, you said that legendary is bad, and in this one particular instance 3.5 years ago you told someone to use it. That's my pre-warning. Because there's actually a few times where it's also, oh my god, that damage, where it's also happened with divines, for example, where this shouldn't one-shot me, should it? I was getting scared then. I was getting terrified. But yeah, there's been a few times where if there's a divine that's not the best divine ever, but you can use them for their bless and their second element, then you can do that. It's just not everyone wants to waste 99 valuable gems on what is, you know, a dragon that they're not really going to use. Doesn't really make sense to just be wasting resources for no reason, especially if you're coming up to major events at the time. So I think more players, new players in particular, need to be more aware of what are the better things to actually spend your gems on. One of the very few things that may be worth spending gems on, god, why is everything doing so much damage? That you can spend gems on before a major event may include things like, say, a hatchery upgrade, things like that, because even though I wouldn't suggest someone upgrade to hatchery level 3 like immediately if they can help it, it may be what they need. So during the event it might be an idea to do that, but you know, this is just my somewhat random ramblings, but I've just had so many players either DMing me or sending it in the Discord server questions about legendaries. I'm like, I thought we moved on from these, like, eons ago. Feels like eons, but no. Lots of people are going back to them, and I don't understand why. It's not the older players, like the ones that already have their divine and ancient teams, it's generally the newer players that are asking. So if you weren't sure, no, don't use legendaries in your team. It's a bad idea. Now, will that stop people from using them? God, no. Of course it won't. But, you know, if you are gonna ask for advice or look for the best ways to play, well, I say best ways, there's no singular best way, but, you know, to be more optimal in general, it's not a good idea. Just use epics and then move straight on to divines and ancients. You don't need to use legendaries. I know it's called Dragon Mania Legends, but the name is highly misleading. You know. Oh, why did it do that? Why did I lower his health to that much? That is 100% my fault. I know. Yeah, the question is he gonna kill himself? Yes, he is. Wonderful. I hate the fact that sometimes people pick the worst sigils and it ends up helping them, because then it misleads people into thinking that they're good. They're not good sigils, they're bad sigils. Very bad sigils, but don't use them. Please, don't use them. You can use them at your own risk. I guess that's the best way I can put it. But sometimes in the arena, like I can beat every single arena fight, it's only if random BS comes up and ends up hitting me that I can't. But anyway, that was my little rambling after my hatchings this morning. So anyway, I'll be looking forward to the hatching of Mr. Dunkelviking for now. I'm very glad that we're going to get that done before the new events begin. But this is such a ridiculous breeding blitz that it expects you to breed Dunkelviking day 1 to have a chance of breeding Gemini Alpha. And I could go and do that, but I've already got Gemini Alpha. But it's obviously just such a massive ploy to try and force spending. Like, we've had issues with these breeding blitz events for, how long have they been out now? Like 2 years? But they just keep pushing them, so obviously they don't care enough. And they're never going to change it at this rate. I think there are a lot of things in this game that do need a change up. The breeding blitz timeframes being one of them. Because, especially during ancient events when they have them then, they just put them so early on that the only people that can actually do them 99% of the time are just whales. And don't get me wrong, I think that they should be taking advantage of whales at every given opportunity if they want to waste their money. That's their prerogative. But I don't know, it just doesn't feel fair, and I'm not even going to be able to use any of those sprites anyway. Oh well, I popped them in, doesn't matter. But anyway, thank you for joining me today for my hatcherings, and I wish you the best.